There's really nothing much that I could add or say. Anybody with a half a brain. This is a British military expert, Andrew Fox. Let him explain to you why Israel's getting painted as a bad guy. Watch the video, it's worth it.
Hamas have been deleted from the conversation. This is being presented in the media as simply Israel just bombing Gaza randomly. That's nonsense. This is very much a two-way war. And yes, it has all the human suffering and civilian death and tragedy that you would expect in any war zone, but not at any greater scale than any other war, and especially not when Hamas have a deliberate strategy of sacrificing Gaza's civilians, and there's nowhere for those civilians to flee to, other than temporary humanitarian zones, because Egypt has shut the border. You know, if Egypt really cared about Gazan civilians, they would open their border and allow them to flee, just like every other war. Look how many Ukrainians fled Ukraine. And that's one of the reasons why Ukrainian civilian deaths aren't as high as they could be. And yet none of that is available on the table in Gaza. Egypt, of course, used to own Gaza. Up to 1967, that was entirely Egypt's possession. The Sinai is not particularly safe or stable. There's Bedouin insurgents in the Sinai Peninsula that Egypt is desperately trying to keep a handle on. They've spent a long time getting a grip of the Muslim Brotherhood issue they've had in Egypt. And I think the last thing they want to do is further destabilise the situation with 2 million refugees. I've been along that border with Egypt, and it is an incredibly well-reinforced and solid wall. Well, I think we've got a 50-plus, 60-plus year information campaign supporting what Hamas is doing in Gaza, and to an extent what the Palestinian Authority are doing in the West Bank, or Judea and Samaria, or whichever we're calling it today. This was a reframing backed by a superpower, backed by the Soviet Union during the Cold War, to take the issue of Palestinianism, to turn it against Israel and reframe it as oppressor versus oppressed, which of course is the narrative that's been heavily pushed throughout sort of Western academia, Western media. And it is essentially because of that framing of oppressor versus oppressed, it gives the Palestinians a free pass to do whatever they want. And it means that Israel is always the bad guy, no matter what happens. And so extraneous issues like what are Egypt doing, what are the Gulf states doing, what are Turkey doing, what are Qatar doing, gets kind of overlooked completely because the focus is Israel as the bad guy. And that's really all that matters in that 60-year narrative that's been pushed so hard.